Hey friends, Dan here from Studio Neat, and in this video we're going to be talking all about refill options for Mark 1, which is our super satisfying click pen. Let's get into it. So refills for Mark 1 fall into one of three categories: rollerball, gel, and ballpoint. And all of these have the same mechanism, which is simply a tiny metal ball in the tip that gets coated in ink and then is rolled along the paper. The difference between the three is how the ink is formulated. So rollerball ink is a liquid dye that is dissolved in water. So this is the ink that is most similar to fountain pen ink, and as such the ink flows really freely and it requires hardly any pressure to get the ink down onto the page. But with rollerballs, the paper choice is more critical because lower quality papers will show feathering or bleed through or some things you don't want. So you're going to want to choose a nice paper if you're using rollerball. Gel is an ink that is pigment suspended in a water-based gel. And so what they're kind of known for is this lubricated, smooth writing experience. But one downside is they're the most prone of the three to skipping. And the drying time is a little bit longer than ballpoint pens. Ballpoint ink is oil-based, and it's a mixture of dyes, alcohols, and fatty acids. This ink is thick, so it works the best on lower quality papers, but it requires the most pressure of the three to write with. The lines are generally not as dark as rollerball or gel, but they are quick drying and waterproof. So that's kind of like a breakdown of the three options that you'll be able to put into a Mark 1. So if you're wanting to put rollerball in Mark 1, which is the default refill that ships with Mark 1, you basically just have one option, and it's these refills that are made by Schmidt, which is a German company that's been around for many decades. And so we ship the P8126 rollerball in Mark 1, but there are two other thicknesses available: the P8127, which is a 0.7 millimeter line, and the P8120, which is a 1 millimeter line. So if you want rollerball, you're in luck because that's what comes with Mark 1, and if you want a slightly thicker line, then you have these options. And these are available in colors as well. I believe the 8126 and 27 come in blue and as well as red and green, and I think just the thicker one comes only in black and blue. If you're wanting a gel refill, there's quite a few good options. This one, which is the Meister by Point, we found is really nice. It lays a nice clean line down. It has a needle point on it, so let's take a look here. It's a little bit of a different tip. It's got this needle point instead of a more traditional conical shape. So some people like that, some people don't. It's kind of a personal preference thing. Here, let's stick it in the Mark 1 to show what that looks like. Okay, here is the Meister inside of a Mark 1. And you can see it's almost got kind of a mechanical pencil type look to it. But as I said, puts down a nice line and looks kind of interesting, kind of cool. There's a couple more great needlepoint options for gel refills. This one by Otto is the PG M05 NP. Again, it's needlepoint, so it has this look to the end of it, but lays down a nice line. There's also very similar, the PG 105 Flash Dry. It's in a plastic case. Not quite as reliable of a line, but it is quite a bit cheaper, so you could maybe try both of those and see which you prefer. This Keiko G2 gel is a really nice option if you are wanting a gel that has a more of a traditional conical style tip instead of the needle point. So definitely check this one out if the needle point is not doing it for you. And last, if you're looking for a super thick gel line, check out the Keiko Sport Gel. This one was by far the thickest gel that we tested. So if that's your preference, then take a look at that for sure. Okay, moving on to ballpoint, we have the Schmidt Easy Flow 9000, which is, it's actually kind of a hybrid, I think, between ballpoint and gel. Puts down a nice line. It's available in medium or fine line widths. And let's get a close up here. You can see, looks like a ballpoint and flows pretty nicely. I was pretty pleased with this one in terms of ballpoints. I was actually really impressed with the UniJet stream. This one comes in 3 different line weights that you can get, which are denoted by the ending of these product numbers here. So 3/8 is 0.38 millimeters. This is 0.5 and this is 0.7. This is by far the thinnest of any of the refills we tested, rollerball, gel, or ballpoint. So if you're into a super thin line, let's take a look at this zoomed in. Definitely check out the UniJet stream. And this is a very ubiquitous refill, so you can find it pretty easily, and it's definitely a popular choice. So the last ballpoint I'll talk about here is the Fisher pressurized ballpoint, which is the classic space pen. It's a pressurized refill, so it can write upside down, in 0 gravity, underwater. And so what's interesting about this refill is this is the refill meant to put in the pen that is made by Fisher, but it comes with this white plastic adapter, which turns it into a refill that can fit into Mark 1 and many other pens. So when you're ordering the refill, just make sure it has this thing in the package as well, and then it just fits onto the end, and now it's the same length as all those other refills I showed. Okay, so one last thing I wanted to mention is there is a difference between the roller balls you can put into Mark 1 and all of the ballpoints and gels that I just discussed. So rollerball, like I said, it's made by Schmidt, and this is the only one that will work in Mark 1, the P8126, 27, and 20. So this is good. All of the gels and ballpoints fall into a category of pen that's known as Parker style. Sometimes this is referred to as G2, which is a little confusing because there's a Pilot G2 pen and it has nothing to do with this. But if you're looking for Parker style or G2, you should find the refill. But the thing you're looking for is this kind of toothy end of the refill. In Parker pens, this is actually engages with the mechanism, but in our Mark 1, we have a custom mechanism that just ignores this. But see this little nub that's sticking out? We actually don't need this in the Mark 1. So you could put this refill in the Mark 1 and it would fit perfectly fine, but the refill would stick out slightly farther. It would be kind of more like this instead of like this. So fortunately, the solution is very simple. You just slice this off. So you can take any blade that you might have and just cut this off. It'll come off really easily. And then there you go. Now this is the exact same length as the Schmidt refill, and it will fit perfectly in Mark 1 and look correct. And the last thing I will mention is the spring for Mark 1. So the spring we've included with the pen is optimized for the Schmidt refill, which we include. And this has a neck size of this distance, which we've calibrated for this spring. So if you put a different refill into your pen, there's probably a decent likelihood that the neck length is going to be different, and thus the clickiness and the spring is going to feel a little bit different because it's not having to compress as much. And so you can use the spring and see if you like it. In most cases, it'll feel absolutely fine. But if you're not super happy with how the spring feels, then you can seek out another spring. One easy way is to harvest one from an existing, cheap pen that you happen to have lying around. But, springs can also be acquired online or McMaster-Carr, places like that. So once you get your spring sorted, you should be good to go. All right, I hope that overview was helpful. If you have any questions, you can comment down below or send us an email to hello@studioneat.com. Thanks for watching and have a great day.